Let's begin. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Oh, hello. I'm Sleepy Ruskeydoo, and this is Podcast76.
And I'm much more awake, Grey. Are you really that sleepy?
Oh, I really am. It's been a long day.
Okay, it's allowed. You're allowed to have long days.
Yeah, totally. And it's okay, though, because it's not like we have some Monster Mammoth show. It's just a few tidbits this week.
This could be a cash show, a very casual show.
Oh, just watch. We'll end up arguing for half an hour about something stupid.
I look forward to it.
Moira's fingernails. There's actually a thing about Moira's fingernails.
Okay, do you want to sum up everything else now that you've told them about the fingernails?
Okay, stuff happened. Oh, you want me to actually go through the summary, not just sum up everything else? Well, why didn't you say so? There's been an update. There is a Moira nerf, which is not a nerf. There is 18 bugs across 4 skills. There's data mined PTR punishment and Moira's golden fingertips. Just leave that hanging.
Yep.
Don't abandon me.
There's something
Grey.
about golden fingertips which just doesn't quite sit right with me.
Yeah, no, it's a bit, I don't know.
There's something just that I find slightly off-putting. I find long fingernails off-putting as it is.
Yeah, no, I hear you. They're a bit creepy. I just wonder how people do things with those nails.
With difficulty, I've seen them. No, honestly, they mostly get used to it, and then there are just a few things which are just a real pain for them, and they're just like, oh, this is my life, I just deal with it.
I can't help but think that people with really long fingernails must just not do much.
Well, yeah, essentially.
If they did lots, then they just get so pissed off.
Absolutely.
Anyway.
Absolutely. I'll be honest. Most of the people who I've known who've had long fingernails have not had actual long fingernails. They've always been things that they can take off if necessary. They've been stuck on somehow with glue. Yeah. Never met anyone who actually has long fingernails.
There was a dude in Manchester who had really long fingernails. And you'd always see him outside gigs. He was some old dude with 2 big, dirty little fingernails. And he'd hide tabs of acid under them and try and sell them to you.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
I don't want that. I do tell a lie. I did know one guy with pretty long fingernails. He played flamenco guitar, though.
Yeah, no, that's the big excuse.
Legit. That's a legit excuse.
Although, right, here's the thing. So, I used to play folk banjo, which I grew my fingernails long for, so I actually had long nails. But my nails break really easy. Maybe I don't get enough calcium, who knows. But seriously, in the run-up to a gig, if I broke a fingernail, that was just so stressful.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah, I use metal picks now. It's a weight off my mind.
I can imagine. Is it better in any other way, or is it just
it's louder. It's a different effect. You can't do claw finger as well with
just because you don't have the same tactile.
No, because metal picks for banjo. Man, we're tangenting hard. Metal picks you can only pluck with. You can't so with claw hammer you do a downstroke with your fingernails. You kind of do pluck downstroke.
Okay, fair enough.
So,
cool.
Yeah.
Shall we talk about the PTR?
Yeah, there's no banjos in there.
No, sadly, but there is an entire world of its own.
Blizzard World.
Yes.
Sadly, that's not Lizard World, because, imagine if there was just a reptilian map. Amazing.
I think they could go for that. What is essentially Jurassic Park, but instead of we did dinosaurs, just we found some lizards, genetically modified them, and now they're huge. Fight amongst the lizards.
Thing is, unless they were doing interesting lizardy things, which would be really hard to program, they'd suck.
Well, no, because they'd be it's, we're just going to laze around lizards. They'd be very lazy lizards.
Like realistic lizards. They just want to bask under a lamp.
Exactly.
Okay, got you.
The lizards wouldn't do anything except watch you fight and be bored by it.
You give a lizard an entire... Are they called terrariums? What are they called?
Yep. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter how big a terrarium you buy them, they'll just be in the corner with the light bulb that's hot.
Yeah, just going, give me more warm.
So yeah, you can run around Blizzard World. It's all right. I haven't played enough to really know what's going on. Interesting points, though.
I do feel it feels a little bit different in terms of where you're going to end up holding compared to other maps. It's not that other maps have like really obvious places to hold when you first see them, but they just have kind of more long flanks that actually just completely pass by, where you think, oh, we clearly hold here.
Yeah.
Oh, no, we don't, because they can actually just completely bypass it.
It feels like Reinhardt's going to suck on that map.
I would not be surprised. Maybe on defense he's good, but on attack he's not.
Well, there's just a lot of verticality every which way, right?
There
But
is,
it is a cart map, so
it is a cart map, and I do think that actually, like, some of the best places to hold will be on the ground. Like, the high ground is not as strong in terms of...
Maybe. I wonder if the Riss is going to be amazing on the last point with all that pit.
Yeah, probably.
I don't know.
No, maybe not, because a lot of it is walled off. It's just the first section where the pit is really obvious.
Yeah, and you can actually flank around that, but you need to get the cart through. Oh, I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah,
with
can't
theory crafting,
really,
it's hard.
It's a very pretty map.
I've played it.
Have a play.
Yeah, I played it a couple of times. There's nothing that particularly stands out to me as like, oh, you clearly hold here. I'm sure everyone after like a month of playing it will be like, oh, you clearly hold here. Everybody always knew this. And we're like, no, we only just worked that out.
Well, I mean, it's not as obvious as other maps. Like, say, first point on Anubis. It's like, where do the defenders hold? Well, there's a choke, and there's a raised area right next to the damn choke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, it's cool. Definitely check it out. Very pretty. A lot of nice little nods to all the different Blizzard games that aren't Overwatch.
Yeah, it's good. Other things. Moira is now in competitive.
Not actually been in a competitive game with Moira, but she's live.
No. When we say she's live, it literally happened like an hour ago or something.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's a thing. What else?
Oh, there's a couple of minor things on the PTR as well, actually. So you know how you can make custom games?
Yes.
There are two new options, which I think are fantastic.
Okay.
One of which is that you start the game with your ult.
Right.
And the second of which is your ult lasts forever.
This explains a video that I found myself watching, and I didn't understand what the hell was going on.
Oh.
They did a World of Tanks thing where it was just bastions shooting each other for
forever.
Ages. Yeah,
so,
it's
yes,
tanks.
Essentially, the idea is that if you have a channeled ult, it just keeps going forever, or as long as you want to hold it for.
What about, can you just go high noon with McCree and just wander around really slowly?
I imagine you can with McCree, but oddly, you can't stay in monkey rage the entire time as monkey.
Why?
I assume that's a bug. I assume that's unintentional.
That's not fair.
Zen trance does end.
Because that'd be hard. Like, you can't kill him. You can't do anything with him. He's just there.
Well, I assume this is not meant as a serious mode.
You think?
So I can imagine them. What I can imagine them implementing eventually is like Q to go in and Q to come out.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so that could be fun.
But it'd be a giggle, right? Like permanently in alt form for various
permanent
heroes.
Tanks or permanent monkey brawl on point.
Permanent Genji blade.
Oh man, you need to get a level which is just like a big tall pillar, and it'll be like that game on Mario Party where you're trying to knock each other off. You just monkeys jumping around and trying to pit the other monkeys.
I bet Chateau Guillard might not be too bad for that.
I don't know, if you got monkeys in the pit just slapping each other around that big health pack. Mind you, maybe it's like bear pits.
Maybe you play the well level on Ilios and you're just trying to bat people into the well.
Or off the edge.
Or off the edge.
There's lots of options is what we're saying.
Yes. So go have fun with that.
Okay. And in fact, surely Moira's golden fingertips should be in the PTR update as well.
You know what? It totally should.
I don't know why we have that as a separate thing. What it is, you know how when you get a golden gun on Moira, it's like her weird wrist cuff weird things?
Yep.
Well, in the PTR, they've listened to some fan feedback and they've given her golden fingernails because the wrist cuffs are a bit, hard to see.
Yeah, it was a little bit too
subtle.
Yeah, too little, bizarrely enough. I could see them going a little bit further because you know how the Or maybe not. Maybe because
you think
it's
all the weird veins in her right hand.
Yeah, like there's a whole bunch of things that they can do to kind of like bling it up even further.
Goldfinger, blah, blah, blah.
But yes, there's a little bit more gold on the golden Moira golden weapon now.
Yeah.
The other little thing is in your hero gallery on the PTR, you now have a mark all as red hero button.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Finally.
Mind you, I've totally got in the habit of just clicking on everything once I open a loot box, just to look at it, go, yep, sure.
Yeah, but I still think it's nice.
Yeah, it's useful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm 100% behind it.
Okay, cool.
Okay, excellent. Next up, the Moira nerf is not a nerf. This was one of those interesting things to see develop earlier this week.
How about you run us through it?
Okay, so basically they did some changes on PTR that have made Moira's attack kind of finicky to target on certain things. Most notably the bots in the training area and certain heroes. So, and as soon as this went in, everyone completely shat the bed that they were nerfing Moira into the floor before they'd even, had her played properly. They were doomfisting her, was an adjective which was thrown about. And I'm proud of myself. At the time, I was like, I think this is just a mistake. I don't think this is something they're actually trying to do. And it turns out, yeah, it's not something they were trying to do. They were trying to mess around with making it easier to target people. Like when someone's really near to you before, it kind of like locked onto them really hard and you couldn't target other people, even if like you clearly had the other person in your crosshairs, but there was someone near to you because it'd like lock onto the near person. And it's just a bit screwed up at the moment. So yeah, it's something they're working on, something they're going to fix. Moira isn't nerfed to hell. Yeah.
I think that makes a lot of sense. I've noticed that sometimes Moira's biotic grip is a little bit flaky and weird. Like it looks like you're just close enough to hit them, then you hit something else. It just sometimes is occasionally weird. So I totally understand why they're making tweaks, and I think it's really good that they're being proactive about it.
Yeah, but it was just everyone like really just exploding in. There was like just a wave of threads on Reddit of people just freaking out and
they're not giving them any trust whatsoever. It's all
exactly.
good.
Just take it easy.
Cool.
So that panic averted.
But there was another panic.
Well, I mean, this isn't really a panic. This is something that's been going on for a while. It's Doomfist been having issues, and this relates to people saying, Doomfisted as, a way of saying nerfed. Someone has compiled Doomfist's 18 bugs across 4 skills. This is quite an amazing feat. They have like examples of every single one.
They have multiple examples of most of them. But it does show like how maybe Doomfist isn't like a bad hero. He's just buggy. It's not like he's unbalanced, like he's underpowered. It's just because he's too inconsistent, because he doesn't always connect with his abilities.
Yeah, I mean, I've encountered a couple of good Doomfists in comp games recently, and we've lost those games.
Yeah, again, you mean when they had the Doomfist and you...
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's
Doomfist I think is like totally playable, except it's quite clear that he's got a couple of issues. A couple of them I don't necessarily agree with as being issues. Like, I think a couple of them are intentional.
Well, I mean, there's definitely some intentional stuff in there.
Yes.
What was the one I was reading about earlier? Like people are like, another thing that people are complaining about is something which isn't a bug as such, but it's just the random spread of his shotgun means that at like mid-range, like if you work like shooting training bots, it's inconsistent the number of like shots it takes to kill someone. And by inconsistent we mean it can take 2 shots can kill someone, or it can take 4 shots to kill someone, which that's nuts, right?
Yeah. I imagine they'll end up doing like, okay, we will give him more like pellets.
More pellets, less damage.
Yeah.
Because that's a way of kind of evening things out without making it too predictable.
Yes, exactly. Without making it so that you have to learn the spread.
Yeah, which always feels a bit janky, right? It's like
I don't understand why they don't just have fixed spread on Doom. Just like have a very even fixed spread. I don't understand why that's not a thing with Doomfist primary attack.
So the issue you get there is like the perfect shot, right?
Well, I guess.
Like say that you have one pellet that goes on crosshairs perfectly. It turns any character into a sniper.
What if you just don't have something that goes perfectly on the crosshair then?
Okay, then if it's a little off to the left, good people will adjust and you'll be able to snipe with Doomfist. If you have any bit of your reticle or firing area where you know 100% a bullet is going to go, then you're going to shoot people across the map with it.
Okay, fair enough, I guess.
Like, there's no way around that. It was a thing they had in TF2 with the pistols that the first shot, it had like random spread for every shot after the first one, and the first one was always perfect, and that led to a lot of issues.
Oh, that's interesting.
Back in the day, yeah.
Huh. The more you know.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, so, I mean, Doomfist has issues, but the flip side of this...
We're not talking just about, like, his
his deep-seated hatred of his parents.
Yes. But...
Bill Warnecke, the lead engineer, has seen it and said he's looking through it, and hopefully they're going to be able to do some stuff about it.
I think they're super grateful for the person who went ahead and compiled the whole video. Because it must make troubleshooting so much easier. Say, okay, we're seeing that this can happen. What's common between all of these?
Yeah, exactly.
You know, go through it frame by frame.
This is the right way to do a bug report, essentially. Give loads and loads of examples, so yeah, they can actually, you know, find which factors are likely to be causing it.
Absolutely. Cool.
Wicked. Okay, so lastly, but by no means leastly, in fact, this could have been in the PTR section as well.
Yes, we look. Let's be honest. This week, I've been really busy, and Rusty's been pretty busy as well, and so the show notes have sort of been cobbled together.
Oh, you've been really busy. I've only been pretty busy. I'm great. Everything I do is super important.
Look, I have a very important life right now. Tell me I'm wrong.
Okay, you're doing big life things. I'll give you that.
But anyway, there are some interesting things in the PTR that have been data mined around punishing players for bad behavior.
Yes, strings. They found strings. Right, okay. I get why they're called strings, but if it's just some text, to call it a string, I find, you know, it's not really a string, is it? It's a sentence.
No, it's not necessarily a sentence.
Well, no, I get that it is a string. And in fact, it's multiple sentences. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I'm just being finicky again.
Clearly. So the things that they have found is first a message for people who have been banned completely from competitive play for being bad.
For screwing up in multiple seasons. That's how you get like a utter ban.
Yes, it's during 3 or more seasons. So essentially no more competitive Overwatch for you.
Until you buy your alt account and then...
No, they do have good ways of detecting alts. Like, you would have to use multiple different things to prevent if you're doing it on the same computer or the same IP address.
Do we know that they're banning IPs?
Yeah, because they did it to a couple of alts of some high-level people who were selling accounts.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
But wait. Okay, they did it to high-level people who were selling accounts, but do we know that when people have been banned for like regular infringements, do they ban all accounts?
I would assume so, because otherwise it'd be a little bit like just go buy an alt sort of thing.
Yeah, because I know that like in bans and other Blizzard games, they haven't done that.
Yeah. Okay, so as evidenced by the Defran ban, they have ways of detecting this. So Defran, who clearly has alts, got banned across multiple accounts. Okay, and he was being a jerk. Yes. So that we know that they can do this just for people being jerks. Okay, that's good to know. Yeah. The next one is that your recent behavior in game is not in line with how most Overwatch players act. So essentially, if you throw and you kind of do stuff like that, then they're going to penalise you for that.
Oh, so they might have a kind of
so you've been reported
to detect throwing.
You have been reported multiple times for inactivity and or griefing, and further reports may result in a gameplay suspension. Please help us create the best possible Overwatch community by staying positive and avoiding actions intended to disrupt Overwatch games. And I do think giving a warning is kind of probably a good thing, because especially if like you get a whole bunch of reports, like a few games in a row, it'll give immediate feedback. Yeah, like you get reported like 3 games in a row by multiple team members, it will just go, oh, this player is clearly doing a thing. Let's go ahead and make sure that they get notified that we're watching them now. Yeah.
In fact, furthering what we were talking last week, I think something came up when we were discussing. What the hell were we discussing?
One-tricking.
Oh, one-tricks, that was it. I think I've begun to realise what my most hated kind of throwing, which I encounter lots, is. And that's if things get hard and people are like, oh, well, we just can't win, and they stop trying.
Yes.
In fact, it happened, we were playing yesterday. Yeah, like, someone just stopped going for the cart, and like, I was like, no, we can still win this. And we got back on the cart. And I wonder if that person had like just kept moving towards the cart and not just given up. Like if we could have won that. Yeah, that's what I find frustrating.
No, it's totally frustrating when people don't realize that you can do amazing comebacks in this game.
Yeah.
I have gone, I remember back when we had 5 rounds of control. Where you could go 99 down again, and then on the third one, back. And the third one, you go 99 down again, and then you bring it back from there.
The overtime. Oh, we did that one game, didn't we?
We did, oh, man. And it was great. And it was, those are some of the most satisfying games that you can win. The ones where you didn't give up and you pull your shit together.
But I guess here's the thing, I feel. I think here's why I find it quite so odious. It's because if I know the entire team was trying till the end and everyone was properly giving it all, I'm not salty. I'm well, everyone tried. We did our best and it didn't happen this time. That's fine. But if someone just throws it away because the game's been a bit hard, we can't win. It's oh, come on, seriously? Yeah. Okay, that's off my chest. Good.
Yep. No, totally with you. And the last option, the last thing found and data mined is that essentially if you use abusive chat, you get this very similar message to if you've been griefing and throwing, saying, you keep doing this, you're going to get a ban.
Oh, there was an interesting discussion that was taking part this week. Okay. And I forgot to write it in the show notes, but it's actually quite intriguing. Why did this remind me of this? Oh, because XQC was there. And it's kind of related to the whole people getting salty and being abusive in chat and such. Okay. And it was the idea that should members of the Overwatch League be role models?
Well, okay. There is no should about it. If you're in the public eye, in a way, if you have a very public persona, you are a role model whether you like it or not. People will see how you act, the decision, the way that you react to certain situations, the choices you make, and that will be input for them in one way or another. You are a role model whether you like it or not. There are obviously some people are clearly more role models than others, but you are a role model.
But then I guess the question after that is, does that mean there's certain a conduct which you are obliged to adhere to?
I'd say that's up to Blizzard, essentially.
Yep.
And I think that they should.
Yeah. Well, the basic, the way that, the guy who runs the Overwatch League, what's he called again?
I can't remember.
I
know who you mean.
Anyway, he kind of weighed in on Twitter, and his take was, these people don't have to be role models, but they basically have to act like professionals.
Okay, what does that mean?
I think it means that, okay, so it's not expected that they have to go kissing babies and instantly become perfect people like Captain America. But I think the idea is that there are standards of how you conduct yourself. That if you act unprofessionally, you know, like saying things that are just like way out there, or like acting in a way which is problematic for the league, then that's a problem. I think the way to think about it is you have the Overwatch League, and it's a company. And if people are in that company bringing down the name of that company, then that's a problem for the company.
I would agree. That sounds very reasonable to me.
But it's going to be interesting because, like, especially in esports, maybe even more than regular sports. Well, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, this is odd now I'm saying it. Like, do you have angrier, saltier people in esports than you do in real sports?
I bet there's something... So the real difference, the really huge difference between esports and classic sports is that when you are practicing in your own time, you have a camera on you with esports. You have a mic right there. You have a very direct connection. So there could be, it could be like it's exactly the same, but we would not get that because what happens... Because what happens is after the game, suddenly you are put in front of a camera with a lot more pressure, and the way that you act and perform in front of that will be different to this much more casual setting. I'm
going to throw out that I don't think it's just that. I think it's also the factor of road rage, and like where if you don't have a person in front of you, and you know you're just seeing like, you know, another car, or like it's just a computer screen, you don't have to empathize with those people. You don't have the same like level of feedback. Like, okay, here's a way to think about it. Like, you get a lot of people in computer games that are willing to, you know, scream like abuse at the computer or type abuse or whatever. Like, you wouldn't get that on a rugby pitch, because if you hurl that abuse on a rugby pitch, the big fella just like 2 feet from you that you're hurling that abuse at might just punch you in the face.
No, true, very true. Yeah.
So yeah,
like the fear of retribution
like loaded boxing gloves next to computers. So that that wouldn't help.
No, that wouldn't help at all. Because you just press the button and they'd press the button and just go horribly wrong. That's
a way that you could like kill the entire world. Like, imagine if there was like kill the person that you're playing against button in computer games.
Oh God, it'd be deaths all the time.
Exactly. It'd massively reduce the overpopulation issue that the world's having. So maybe that's...
Hang on, wait. What percentage of the world do you think would have enough of a good connection to the internet for this to work?
But it'd be even worse if the connection was bad. Imagine how much those people would be raging if they had like a really shitty connection.
No, because those people may be trying to press the button, but it wouldn't be landing on the other side. The server wouldn't ever get it.
Oh, it'd be lag as well. You'd be like, guys, press the button. I'm just going to move my head. Anyway, I feel this conversation has gone way off.
Yes. So, I mean, I don't know where else we can go with that discussion, but I certainly think they should be held to a professional code of conduct.
Yeah. I suspect it's going to be like football players. It's going to be like other sports professionals. You can't go around saying horrendous things.
Well, you can go around saying the words horrendous things. You just can't.
Oh, yeah. And also, like, if your conduct is really shitty, then it becomes a problem for everyone involved because it makes a bad name for your sport.
Yeah, absolutely. And I do think that the more direct connection will factor into it and make it more difficult for esports players to kind of rein that in.
Let's be clear. It's not some kind of thought police. It's not like you're saying, those people can't be like that. What you're saying is our company doesn't want to have that in the company because that's bad for business. So it's not like some agenda to stop people acting in a certain way. It's more just like what, you know, most people are willing to accept as reasonable conduct.
Well, it is an agenda, but it's a business agenda, right? Like it's
yes, that's a much
like
better
it's not that they're trying to enforce a specific moral code that this company has decided to have. It is that for it to make sense as a business, you got to do these things.
Yeah. In fact, another massive tangent. Looking at Disney recently, their films are becoming so like inclusive of gender and race, and I mean, I'd love to believe that, the people at the top of Disney are like, no, this is, the right thing to do to make sure, like, there's films which represent all facets of our society. I don't believe that for a second. I think it's just the bottom line is that Disney have seen which way the wind is blowing and they just want to, get ahead of that and make money off it.
Disney Pixar have been relatively good, haven't they?
Disney are really good at the moment. They're like being super inclusive and stuff.
Yeah, like
also,
I think
properties anyway.
Well, I just think generally, in terms of social progression, Disney have, I mean, certainly for the past 10 years or so, have just been like a bit ahead of the curve.
Yeah,
not
but
super far.
I'm saying about what's motivating that.
Yes,
I would say it's it's the money, but who knows?
I
Maybe I'm
wouldn't
being
be
overly
surprised.
cynical.
It could be either.
Maybe it's a little bit of both.
But you know what? I bet it's seeded by the moral thing. Like more people who have that interest are pushing those ideas, but the people are more receptive to it on the other side because they go, you know what? There's actually a market there.
Yeah.
Like it's one of those things. If you need both sides, right? If none of the creatives were pushing it, then none of the people with the money would be picking it up, as it were.
Yeah.
And on that cynical note...
Oh, man, we got way off course. But anyway, I've been Ruskeydoo.
And I've been Grey, and we will see you next week.
Toodle pip.